I'm Johanna Grossman.
And I'm Eric Macy.
And we run healthcare and life sciences capital markets at the New York Stock Exchange. And
You are watching Taking Stock.
After opening early this morning in negative territory, the AI trade firmly in no uncertain terms back in focus here. We are expecting the tail of the tape to be in positive territory in a big one, given the intraday reversal we had across the major market indexes. We had a little bit of wobble off the open today for the AI trade after some disappointing earnings from names like Arista Network and a handful of others dragging down with them, or at least early on, some of those key AI names. We had a big reversal on the day. We are expected to see the S&P 500 finish up about 0.4%. Also, private ADP payrolls, they are in focus because at long last we got at least a little bit of economic data investors had been very much looking forward to. All that and so much more sets the stage for the show today. And speaking of it, welcome to it, one and all. You're watching Taking Stock live from the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I'm your host today, JD Durkin. Moments away from the ringing of the closing bell, the team here from Ring Central here live on the trading floor. They are set to do the honors here in just a bit. Right after the bell, Jay Woods of Freedom Capital Markets, he's on deck to join us, tell us what he's been seeing with regards to broader macroeconomic storylines as well as price movements here on the stock market today. The leading sectors for the S&P 500 include energy, discretionary, and materials, with real estate and staples leading losses to the downside, though to be honest, not many losses. All 11 sectors of the S&P 500 in positive territory. The crowd is hyped up to go. We're hyped up to go. The team from Ring Central here now, set to do the honors. The team from Ring Central, here to do the honors. I have a little bit of FOMO, I have to admit. I'd really love an orange scarf. They look so cool here. Bringing about a close to the financial markets on this Wednesday, November 5th. Thank goodness we have it printed, because otherwise I would not know what date it is. The S&P 500 finishing up about 0.4%. The Dow up 0.5%. The NYSE Composite Index up 0.4. How about the small caps, folks? We love to see the Russell 2000 getting in on the action, up about 1.5% on this Wednesday. Let's not delay the good stuff any further. Let's bring in the man himself, Jay Woods of Freedom Capital Markets and a CNBC contributor. My man, thank you for being here.
Hey, always a pleasure.
Talk to me about what is top of line. We got a little bit of a rally today, Relief, is this the real deal?
All right,
what
yeah,
are you looking
just
for
stole
here?
my word with that R. Relief rally is what we got. We're still a little skittish. Congratulations, we got the record. What record is that? Not in the S&P 500, but for the government shutdown. Not a record we wanted. Yes, you didn't know where I was going with that. I love that. But no, and I think there's a little trepidation about this, because the longer it goes on, the more uncertainty we bring to this market. And what is that uncertainty? Not those poor people are not getting paychecks right now, but the Fed, and what data are they going to get to make that next decision. So to see the small caps bounce back, your favorite it seems like, was nice. It held some key technical levels, but we're not out of the woods right now. The S&P 500 still has a little ways to go to get back to all-time highs. So I still think skittishness is the word of the week. We'll see where we go, but we'd like to get this shutdown over with, because if this drags into the holidays, you're going to get a lot of unhappy people traveling for the holidays, including you, possibly me. So let's hope that they can come to some resolution, and then the market can focus on what it's supposed to do in November, and that's go up.
The longest federal government shutdown we have ever had, to your point. Today is day 36. Economic data is kind of hard to come by. We got the ADP print today for the month of October. Yeah. Maybe a little better than had been expected. What did you take away, and what does the Fed, you think, do with? They're looking around. They're looking for things to kind of take into consideration. They got something.
You said it all. The ADP number. That ADP number is more of a survey, and you have to interpret that data. You can't take it as concrete as the unemployment data that we're supposed to get on Friday. That probably is not going to come out on Friday. So it was a ray of sunshine, looking for that silver lining in what has been a cloudy week so far. So to me, I think we're going to focus on these surveys, the Beige Book November 26th, if we have to go that far out, and instead of waiting for the CPI next week, the PPI next week, unemployment on Friday. So that goes back to my original thought. this shutdown continues, we're going to have some problems getting real data, and that means we may not cut in December. So, today, silver, golden ray of sunshine, a silver lining, if you will.
They all work.
I'm running out of colors.
No,
and
pick your
analogies,
precious metal of analogy of choice.
Exactly. No copper analogy there. But the long story short, we had a nice day, a nice relief rally. Let's see if we can build on it. Earnings season, we got a few interesting ones after the close of the day, Robinhood being one. Then we wait a week, and then we go into NVIDIA, and we'll be hyper-focused on that in 2 weeks from today.
The Supreme Court, meanwhile, is hyper-focused on the legality of President Trump's tariffs. Early reports seem to indicate maybe more skepticism, even from some of the conservative justices, than had been expected. I mean, this is such a jump ball. What happens if this kind of gets denied by the Supreme Court? All this tariff revenue the government has already taken in. What are you looking for out of that
First
story?
of all, I don't understand where we got the leaks of what was going on in the Supreme Court today. I'd like to hear more information about that. But this decision, we don't know when it's going to happen. If the Supreme Court repeals the tariffs, finds them illegal, then we have a whole new cloud of uncertainty. How is the administration going to try to circumnavigate it? How are those companies that have been paying tariffs going to pay them back? How are we going to adjust to possibly new lines of tariffs? So, we had uncertainty back in April, recall Liberation Day, April 2nd, April 9th, with that sell-off. A Supreme Court decision which is not imminent, but we're going to follow poly market and those prediction markets. But right now, it's something we're going to keep an eye on, but we don't know when that decision is going to come. The earliest, the end of this year, and that's a rush job if it comes in 2025. So right now, anything we say will be just speculative. So we'll follow Kalshi, we'll follow poly market and see what they have to say, but it did not have an impact on the market today. I thought maybe it could. It didn't.
Yeah, we know investors are going to pay very close attention to that and so much more. That's all the time we have. My man, the one and only Jay Woods of Freedom Capital Markets and a CNBC contributor. Thank you for kicking off the broadcast, as always.
Thank you. All right.
Good to have you, brother. Josh will take your microphone. Bobby, you and I are going to head for a walk. Jay Woods and I just chatting about poly market a moment ago. Let's now bring you the updated event contract poly market odds for one notable question here as it pertains to one of the mega cap companies, and that is Amazon. What price level will Amazon hit between now and the end of the month? The stock was down 0.3% today, just hit its all-time high of 258.60 intraday on Monday's session. 72% odds, according to poly market participants, that it shoots up to 260 by the end of the month. That, of course, would be a new all-time high. 25% likelihood the stock falls down to 224. 16% odds, finally, the stock shoots up to 276. That's about an upside potential of 10% from its current levels. After today, 16 trading sessions left in the month of November. That does include a half day here on Wall Street on Black Friday. Bobby, we'll take a look at two NYSE notable companies here on this Wednesday. How about one of the best performers here in the S&P 500? That's the team from Delta Airlines. 24 moves for this stock in the last year of 5% in either direction. We're kind of looking to see if the booking pressure conversation continues as the shutdown continues to roll on. The stock is down about 2% from the start of the year. The average one-year price target sits at $73 a share. That's upside potential off this level of another 25%. Finally, Bobby, we will take a look at what is unfortunately the worst performing stock in the S&P today. That is Zimmer Biomet Holdings. It's a healthcare company that specializes in reconstructive surgery, things like knee and hip replacements. Very low demand for the quarter. It's company's largest single-day drop in history and the lowest close going all the way back to April of 2020. All right, one and all, New York Stock Exchange's very own Ashley Mastronardi sat down with Christian Howell. He's the CEO of Cognito Therapeutics to discuss all of the ways that they've developed a new therapy for Alzheimer's. Take a look.
Cognito Therapeutics is a company on the cutting edge of Alzheimer's disease. They've developed this wearable device that helps patients preserve cognition. I'm joined now by their CEO, Christian Howell. Christian, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell me about this device? Where is its origin? How did this all start?
It's really exciting. We're trying to take a very different approach into brain health. So the device and the technology was really discovered out of MIT. So two pioneering neuroscientists, Dr. Liwei Tsai and Dr. Ed Boyden, literally met in a hallway. And Dr. Tsai had been studying the different brain rhythms and the biology that corresponded to the various activity of the brain. And Dr. Boyden had established a career in optogenetics, which is a study of using different modalities to kind of activate the brain. And they got together and they said, well, what if we could activate the brain to a particular level to drive biology that could be very important to preserving cognition and function. And that really gave the start to Cognito. And so they really went about answering a series of questions. One, is an active brain a healthier brain? And they said, yes, it was. Two, what happens when the brain is most active, which is a activity level we call gamma. And what they found was that the brain started to express very important biology for expressing synaptic proteins and myelin generation. There's a system of filtration in the brain called the glymphatic system that came online, and it improved vasoactivity. So that was incredibly important because all of those things really contribute to creating a protective environment for the brain. Then they started asking questions about particular diseases, and that's when they came to Alzheimer's disease, and they said, boy, it looks like patients are really restricted in their ability to get to that activity level and therefore drive that biology. And then the last question was, could they safely stimulate the brain to that level and really over a period of time so that you could get a expression of those sort of key elements? And they found that they could, and that the most effective way to do it was actually stimulating the optic nerve and the auditory nerve with sound and light. And so that's where we've developed this headset, which allows patients to sit comfortably in their home for an hour. They receive light therapy, which stimulates the optic nerve, and sound therapy, which stimulates the auditory nerve, all of which creates a very important neuroprotective and biologic expression in the brain.
Would you say this is a workout for the brain? Is is what it's doing in response to this sound and light, is that versus like the brain just atrophying and not really being active? Is that what is preserving cognition?
It's a wonderful comparison, right? So we learned years and years ago that if we stimulated the heart to a particular heart rate, then we would see this really important downstream biologic expression that would preserve not just cardiovascular, but cardiometabolic health. And the same is true within the brain. So we have 5 different levels of activity, but when the brain is most active at gamma, or what we call 40 hertz, which is the level of oscillation in the brain has all of this downstream biology. And so, yeah, it is very similar to the brain sort of being stimulated, or that same effect that you have when you see someone exercising.
Christian Howell, CEO of Cognito Therapeutics, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's do it, one and all. Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching Taking Stock live from the New York Stock Exchange. Time now for a few fintech, crypto, and AI-related headlines for your Wednesday afternoon. First up, the crypto majors Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all rallying in the session here on Wall Street today as the market bounces back from recent sell-offs, including Bitcoin yesterday dipping below 100,000 for the first time since June. Next up at this hour, Solana Company is launching an open-ended $100 million stock repurchase program. It's a move aimed at boosting share value and narrowing NAV discounts. And finally, Microsoft has now committed over $60 billion to NeoCloud data center partners. It's a massive bet to secure GPU power, as well as ease the global AI capacity crunch. The NYSE parent company ICE's Varen Power sat down with Reddit's Senior Director of Business Development, Uzar Khan, to discuss all of the ways that the two companies are teaming up to create new data and new analytics for the broader capital markets. Take a look.
Reddit is a fascinating platform. I think it has a lot of information on what society as a whole is thinking and feeling.
The lifeblood of our platform is obviously our users. And the more users we have, the more we're able to engage in this really multifaceted, incredible conversation across a variety of different topics. We've been really excited by our user growth. We've now hit 108 million daily active users in Q1 of this year. That's a 31% year-on-year growth. What's really exciting about that is more than 50% of those users are international, which means our conversation is becoming increasingly global.
The subreddits have moderators that are there. They play a very critical role in the platform and how people use the platform. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
We have 100,000 active communities that are participating in subreddits. Those include everything from news, sports, entertainment, to very personal life decisions, to hobbies, to discussion about financial topics. Moderators, as you mentioned, are a critical portion of our lifeblood. They helped establish the rules and the norms of the subreddits. They help keep conversations on track. I think voting is one of the real unique aspects of Reddit. It allows users to provide a signal to other users about what content they're providing useful, and critically of what content they're finding unuseful. This allows users who are coming into the platform to hear from other people. So the platform is not dictating what is the most important content, it is other users who are providing it. We think this is an extremely powerful signal.
AI has a big role to play with this, right? I'm sure Reddit is constantly thinking about how the data from their platforms gets utilized by some large language models. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it presents a really great opportunity for us. We've launched a product called Reddit Answers, which we're really excited about. And what this allows users to do is to find content for exactly what they're looking for on their platform, and then to get them into that conversation.
Right.
So what that allows you to do is you can come onto the platform and say, hey, I'm looking to learn more about mountain biking, for example, or I'm looking for a specific type of mountain bike for the following type of scenarios. We can provide content that is synthesized based upon the content available, and then get you into the conversations.
You know, one of the things that we'll touch upon is making sure that the information that you produce through an API or a feed is scrubbed and is safe for work, right? If you could touch upon what Reddit does on their side to make things safe, I think that would be hugely impactful for us.
Number one, we have tools that are automatically scanning and moderating content at a systems level once that content comes in. Number two is we have a system of moderators and upvoting and downvoting. So when content is not appropriate to a discussion or is not following the rules of a platform, it is removed. So it's a dual layer thing that we're doing of systems and human beings, both from the perspective of moderators and other users, that is combining to create that high quality data stream.
What are you most excited about in the next 12 to 24 months, Azar?
I'm very excited about this point that we touched on earlier about Reddit Answers getting people into the conversation and getting users the answers that they're looking for. We think that that's going to be a real unlock for us.
We're extremely excited about getting our hands on some of this information. I know my data science team has been spending, hours on a daily basis just trying
We're
to
excited
sift
about
through
it.
I think from a financial markets perspective, there's a huge amount of value to be added. As I said, there's one place where we can go and mine for sentiment. The way we think about it is our roles within the capital markets is to get information from a variety of sources and normalize the data in a way that our clients can consume it and then make decisions or take actions after they've consumed it and analyzed it.
Let's do it, one and all. Welcome back to the broadcast. Now in the latest you need to know in the world of startups, raises, and rounds at this hour. First up, NVIDIA reportedly investing as much as $1 billion in AI company Poolside. It's a move that both fuels its startup ecosystem as well as boosts demand for its own GB300 chips. Next up, Ripple securing $500 million in new funding at a $40 billion valuation, its largest raise yet to date. It's backed by Wall Street giants like Fortress, Citadel, and Galaxy Digital. And finally, Wabi, it's a social platform that lets users instantly build and share mini apps using prompts, is raising $20 million in pre-seed funding. That's the latest you need to know in startups, raises, and rounds. And time now for what is always my favorite part of the show, where I get to interview not just a great guest, but someone who just rang the closing bell. Please say hello to Vlad Shmumis. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO at RingCentral. It's great to have you here, Vlad.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I gotta say, so we all saw at the top of the broadcast how enthused all the RingCentral folks were. Incredible energy down here on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. What did it mean for you and the team to ring the iconic closing bell today?
It's amazing. It's my first time doing that, believe it or not. But I figure we are just, call it early middle innings, literally. Yeah, so we're here to celebrate our launch of our very own agentic AI voice suite. We believe it's the first in the industry. We think it's going to revolutionize the way that people in business, and in particular consumers calling on their business service providers, is going to change the way that that works. Just like about 25 years ago when we first launched, we moved communications, business communications, from on-prem to the cloud. We are now moving it from the cloud, well, staying in the cloud, but now extending into agentic AI era. Could not be more excited.
25 years ago when the company was launched, could you possibly have envisioned, could you have imagined the way that the emerging technologies, including the new conversation on agentic-based future, would be the reality today? Or did you always sort of see where the puck was going, maybe?
I don't know always, but AI has been around for a while. Now it's real. RingCentral is here to make it more real, more accessible for the population at large, but it's been a good run. It's been a good run. And like I say, lots of innings still left.
What do you feel most sets RingCentral apart from other competitors in your space?
We are the voice of your business. We are the platform that 500,000 businesses worldwide use. We have about 8,000 actual users, 8 million actual users on the platform. We're one of the largest. We believe we're by far the best. And what sets us apart is when you have a mission-critical application or use case. If you're a doctor that cannot miss a patient's call, if you're an insurance agent that cannot miss that, hey, my house is on fire call, that's when you use RingCentral. And with AI, we can make all of those transactions or interactions a lot more fluid, a lot more productive. We make sure that calls do not get dropped on the floor. They get answered by machines as appropriate, but mostly making humans more productive and just more successful via use of our system.
Vlad Shmunis is the founder, chairman, and CEO of RingCentral, ringing the bell here at the New York Stock Exchange for the 4th time. What a legend. It's great to have you down here. Thanks for being on the show today.
Terrific. Thank you for having me.
Awesome to have you. Folks, don't go anywhere. We got much more Taking Stock coming up after this quick break, including, of course, the latest from Money 2020's very own Scarlett Sieber. Don't go anywhere. More Taking Stock coming up after this.
Welcome back. I am Scarlett Sieber from Money 2020, and normally I'd be welcoming you to how fintech companies actually make money. But today we're going to do something a little bit different, okay? So this time we're going to dig into how exactly the 401k industry makes money. In case you don't know what a 401k is the retirement account a lot of people in the US get through work. You put your money in, your boss might put some money in too, and the idea is one day, way in the future, you'll have enough saved to stop working. Oh, and don't forget, it's also pre-tax dollars, so Uncle Sam stays out of your way if you're trying to stack those Benjis into that 401k. Never thought I said that in a sentence, but here we are, moving on. This is the thing about 401ks. Behind your 401k is a whole industry making money off of your savings. There are gigantic companies that do unbelievable revenue because they have a significant portion of some small portion of that 401k process. The easiest way to think about it is taking a journey back to your childhood. Remember that piggy bank? But instead of sitting on your shelf, that piggy bank lives in the stock market. Well, actually, a very important point, hopefully sits in the stock market, that is. We don't know the stats on 401ks, but around 55% of IRA funds sit in cash, accruing almost no yield. If those numbers are even close in the 401k land, then average people are missing out on billions of dollars, okay? So keep in mind, the amount of money being left on the table is actually really hard to think about. So how do these companies or these sets of companies actually make money? Number one, management fees. If your money sits in a fund, the company that runs the fund takes a tiny cut, like a few cents out of every $100. Sounds small, but when billions of dollars are in those funds, it adds up big. Two, admin fees. The people running the 401k system, record keepers, plan providers, they charge to keep everything legal and organized. Sometimes your company pays this, sometimes it comes out of your balance. Number three, advice fees. If you want help choosing what to invest in, some plans offer advisors or robo-tills, often at an extra fee. Extras. Borrow from your 401k, there might be a loan fee. It is financial services after all, and these are the fees that are hiding around every corner. Now for your cocktail party factoid. In the US, with the 401k, you carry the risk. If the stock market goes down, your balance goes down. In the UK, old school pensions used to work differently. Your company promised you a paycheck for the rest of your life after you retired. They carried the risk, not you. But because that's super expensive for companies, even the UK is moving towards plans that look a lot more like 401ks these days. And now you sort of kind of know where that money is going every 2 weeks. My PSA to you, make sure you're invested in the market. Leaving that money in cash for decades is one of the biggest drivers of the wealth gap. Mind that gap, folks. Invest, and back over to you.
Law school. Welcome back to the broadcast. With our remaining moment or so, we'll give you a quick preview of what to expect tomorrow on Wall Street. Scratch that. Forget tomorrow on Wall Street. It is Skylar's birthday. Let's go today. I have to be honest, I was not a great host. Yesterday was Skylar's birthday, and I neglected to say so on the show. Very happy birthday, Skylar. One of our incredible producers here does an amazing job inside out. Hope you have an incredible birthday. Thank you for everything. Earnings tomorrow, D-Wave, Quantum, Moderna, DraftKings, Airbnb, and so much more. That's going to do it for the entire Taking Stock team. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new show, and happy birthday, Skylar!